Hey everyone, I'm Flo. Welcome back to my channel, and for today's video I'm going to be going over 4 cool Adobe Illustrator tools or effects. Let's begin. Number 1, the repeat tool. Now this is a fairly new effect that Adobe Illustrator has rolled out. Now if you go into Objects and scroll down and click on Repeat, you'll see the options that Repeat has. The first one is Radial, and you get this cool radial effect. Now this is what it looks like with the text effect. If you use other shapes, it will look, it will look different. I mean, of course it will be in a radial, but yeah, and you can change the colors and it changes everything. You can even change the stroke as well, and it changes everything in the radial, which is pretty cool. And now if you go back into the repeat panel, there are other things like the grid, and then you get this interesting grid effect, and if you kind of pull that little bar down, you can have it repeat all the way down as much as you'd like, and that's pretty cool. And you can make some cool posters, I feel like, with this grid effect. Now if you go back, the last option there is the mirror option, and it's essentially that it mirrors your object, your shape, or your text. And you can actually play with positioning depending on how much of the distance you want. You can play around with that, which is pretty cool. And then the last thing you can also do in the repeat tool is actually customize it. So if you go into the options, you can go ahead and choose the number. Let's say for the radial, if you want it to be more than 12, if you want it to be 20, then it will essentially give you 20 object shapes or text objects essentially, so you have a radial that's more full looking, if that makes sense. And yeah, you can play around with the options for all of them. Number 2, the blend tool. Now the blend tool is a tool that you can find in the objects panel, but before that, make sure you create an outline. If you're using a text like myself, you can turn it into an outline so the effect will actually work. So once you do that, make sure you make 2 of the text boxes, so like a duplicate of it basically, and then go into the blend tool and then go to blend options if you want to specify the amount of steps, shapes, or numbers that you want. For the blend tool, essentially it creates this cool blend effect, and when you click on blend, it creates this kind of cool kind of blend type of look, if that makes sense. Another thing you can do with this is you can take out the fill and make it a stroke, and you can make this kind of interesting stroke gradient effect. So on one box you can make it a thicker effect, and then one you can have it a thinner stroke, and then once you're happy with that, you can go back and click on make, and it creates this cool blend effect. And you can go ahead and customize that as you like. And yeah, this is an effect that I've seen quite a lot on Instagram with people making these cool posters. So if you've been curious about how to create this effect, this is how you make it. Number 3, Pixelate. Now, this is a really interesting one, and I found this tool quite a while back, and it creates this really interesting kind of sparkly effect, if that makes sense. Now, if you go into Effects and click on Pixelate, and then click on Pointillize, it essentially creates these kind of little points in the fill. And yeah, you get this kind of sparkly effect, which I think is really interesting. You can use it for various types of shapes, illustrations, or certain effects that you might be trying to go for. Another cool thing that you can do is even use it on gradients as well, and that makes for quite a fun looking effect. And if you go back into the effects panel and go back to Pixelate, you can also check out the other things like Mezzotint. And you get these interesting kind of textures, medium dots, grainy dot. There's also crystallize, and you get this interesting almost like crystal diamond effect to it. And yeah, that's something that I've had a lot of fun experimenting with. Moving on to number 4. Number 4 is patterns. Now, patterns is something that comes in so handy if you're trying to create some kind of pattern, or if you want to create some kind of wallpaper. This can come in very handy. Now you can create whatever shape you want. I am creating a star because I have a bit of an obsession with these twinkle looking stars. I just think they're fun, but you can create any shape you want. You can create your own shape. with the pen tool or just any shape from the shape panels. If you go into object and click on pattern then make, then you'll have basically the patterns option. Now, as you can see it better, you can check out all of the settings that it has. There's many settings that you can go through, but I'll try to quickly go over it. As you can see, there's a tile types, there's a brick offset. You can click on the different types of offsets that you want. And then you can also even go into the tile types like brick by brick, hex by column. Another thing that you can also do, let's say you don't want a pattern that looks like this, that's so close together, you can click on size, tile to art, and then you'll have this H and V spacing open, and you can click on the pixels. You can type in the pixel rate of how much space you want it. So let's say you want it 10, 20, and it basically spaces it out more. And I just feel like that looks quite nice, unless you're going for something that's very condensed. But I like the spacing better, so that's why I chose that. Once you're happy with that, you can click on done, and then you'll have your pattern show up in the swatches panel. And then if you create any shape and click on the swatch, you'll have your pattern show up in that box. And yeah, you can go wild with it and experiment, try different techniques, different colors, different types of shapes, and combining different shapes. Have fun with that. I hope this video was helpful. Comment below and let me know if any of these were something that you're excited to try out. Let me know. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe because I'll be having more videos like this coming up soon. Alright guys, have a great day. Bye bye for now.